morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning into another Supatease video. And the biggest cheaters and exploiters have just been exposed into the race world first, and we have a massive content update for patch 11.1.5 to cover in today's video. And if you want to make sure that you're staying up to date with news related to World of Warcraft, then make sure to smash that subscribe button. Your support is greatly appreciated. So we just got 11.1. And they're already starting to talk 11.1.5 and what is it going to bring. So in the 11.1.5 content update, it's making its way to the PTR. And with it, some new changes and additions that will roll out in the weeks after its release of the content update. This is a really big one. It has a lot of new content, and it has a very big kind of UI feature update. And Blizzard has been ongoing saying that they are combating add-ons, looking to make the baseline UI better. And I think this patch is likely going to be a really big one based on what I've read so far. But the first main event is going to be Defend the Arathi in the Nightfall scenario. Now, when I hear scenario, I think Miss of Pandaria scenarios, which weren't, I don't remember them being incredibly popular. So this one might have to win me over a little bit. Players will take up arms beside a new faction, Flames Radiance, to defend the Arathi against the Sureki forces following the defeat of Queen Ansarek. This faction consists of volunteer militia-led veterans, Dyad Pyremaker, and Milton Wildebron. As you rise through the ranks, you will be able to earn up to 10 levels of renown and unlock new rewards. This sounds very similar to the cartel ranks that we've got currently in Undermine. Alongside the Flames Radiance, players will be split between task forces within the Nightfall public scenario to clear the battlefield and push back the Sureki. You'll also be able to strike back against the Sureki forces throughout the Hollowfall and Ash-Kahet to continue to earn renown and rewards with additional quests and activities between scenarios. So it sounds very much so for kind of casual-oriented solo players, which has been kind of the main focus of the expansion with the introduction of delves, and it seems like it's very geared towards that. Imagine it has a lot of cosmetics involved with it, and some quick item level that you can pick up as a casual player. Players can expect a variety of rewards for taking part in this scenario, and quests including new armor sets, a tabard that will visually update as you progress through the ranks of the Flames Radiance, weapons, a new color variation of the Delver's dirigible, and more. As your rank increases, you can also expect to earn buffs, which will help you become stronger while in Hollowfall or Ash-Kahet. So overall world building, I'm very curious to see what this tabard leveling up effect is. And I actually kind of wonder if that's something that they could apply to Mythic Plus and PvP. As you're getting your score higher, your tabard gets more illustrious and upgrades. It kind of reminds me of back in Wrath of the Lich King in PvP. You'd get this set of gear in Season 5, and that gear basically evolved season to season. It wasn't a completely new set of gear every patch. It looked kind of more like a basic set of starter gear, and then it evolved the following season, I believe, into Relentless, and then it evolved again into the next season, and it just get bigger and bigger and bigger until it was capstoned at the end of Wrath of the Lich King. And that idea of like building something could actually be really cool as far as driving visuals and rewards for players, and more than just this. But this kind of seems like more of the same. I'm wondering if it's going to feel like a war front. It seems geared more towards a player that isn't myself, so I'm obviously not going to rag on it too hard. So if you are a player who's interested in something like this, let me know in the description or the comments down below what you think. The next one is Dastardly Duos. Now that kind of makes me think of 2 versus 2. Is this a PvP thing? Later in the patch cycle, players will be able to experience a new 6-week event, providing a variety of cosmetics, toys, and even some dungeon items based on the bosses you encounter. Okay, so it's not PvP. Vinny Sweets, showrunner and announcer, is promoting a Dastardly Duos, where players can step up to take on animatronic versions of past bosses. Hey, I had that idea for Time Walking that you could do solo boss challenges at like every 10 levels. You could fight the Lich King by yourself, and he would do, mechanics with you, and he would teach you how to play the game basically, so that when you got to max level, you'd be more useful than what the current leveling process gives. But this looks like it's going to be a max level feature. You'll gain power-ups and strive for higher and higher scores for bragging rights. It sounds like a solo player Mythic Plus. You and your party will fight 2 or more bosses at a time to rack up your highest score. It's interesting. It's like a gauntlet style of play. It reminds me of that Star Wars game from, I think it was Battlefront 2, where you were in the Colosseum on that planet that I can't name, and you were a Jedi and you were fighting against the waves of the incoming like flying bug people and other creatures were coming your way, and you were trying to survive as long as possible. So honestly, this sounds really cool. This sounds even interesting to me as somebody who doesn't really engage in a lot of PvE content. This does sound very cool so far. There will be 3 hubs for the Dastardly Duos that players can visit: one in Stormwind, one in Orgrimmar, and one in Dornogal. While Vinny Sweets is running the show, you'll need to speak with Ziggy Maru to queue for the fight in the Dastardly Dome. A visit with Woden, the troll servant vendor, will also get you access over the weeks to some additional power-ups or items that can help you in the fight. In 1 week, there will be 4 bosses available to fight, and each week thereafter, additional bosses will be added up to a total of 10 total bosses to face. Earning specific achievements will also provide additional game effects from them within the Dastardly Duo. Earn points for kills, damage done, and much more. Rack up a high score with your party for bragging rights and see how far you can go. This honestly sounds pretty cool. This just sounds like I don't know if you're allowed to take a smaller group of players. It's kind of like a more competitive delve format, utilizing some of the previous bosses and such. Honestly, this actually sounds really cool. This is something that I would actually try. It could be like a Mage Tower challenge almost, except you can group up a little bit. So I'm very curious to see how this one plays out. The next one is Horrific Visions. This is one that might upset you, depending on your opinion of the Horrific Visions the first time. I think for a lot of players, they like the challenge of it, but the rotating vendor and the grinding was a little bit too much. So hopefully this is going to be the fun parts of Horrific Visions revisited and not the frustrating parts. The return of Nazas corrupted versions of Stormwind and Orgrimmar. Wait, we're going straight. This is literally reusing the content. Complete objectives and take on the challenges within. As you make your way through these encounters, you'll need to maintain your sanity or ultimately fail. You'll be able to go it alone or create a part of allies to join you. Players who want to experience Horrific Visions alone or need an additional helping hand in their party will also be able to invite a construct of Sori Dormi companion to join them. This follower will be able to tank, DPS, heal, and will not be affected by your sanity. So it just sounds like a delve. It's kind of like resurrecting this thing as a delve. For players looking for a bigger challenge, you'll be able to activate higher difficulties of play for additional gear up to heroic difficulty items appropriate to your level. Horrific Vision masks are also returning, including Mask of Pain, Mask of Dark Imagination, Masks of Long Night, and Masks of the Burning Bridge. So if you missed out on these rewards, you can get them again, as well as the Mask of the Daredevil. 3 additional new masks will also be available to discover and conquer. A new currency to collect becomes available to spend at the vendors for previous rewards. Displace corrupted mementos. Players will be able to earn new rewards in Horrific Visions, such as mounts, toys, transmogs, weapon enchantments, and more. Whether you're playing a new max level alternative character or experiencing it for the first time, you can experience this content shortly after the launch of 11.1.5 update. So kind of bringing back that effect really depends on the scaling of it. Interested to see what the new rewards are for it. They didn't identify what it was. A lot of this is kind of bringing back old content, right? These are all, I think they're revisiting old bosses. So like, are we going to be able to solo Illidan or something like that? So bringing back a lot of old stuff, trying to get it resurrected and life into it, give content for people who maybe didn't get to experience the first time. I think that's okay. This is a good way for them to kind of bring content back that maybe somebody missed out on. And the biggest part of the update, which is honestly the smallest part in terms of text, UI update. We are implementing a new UI update, which introduces a cooldown manager, allowing players to better track class ability cooldowns. This additional functionality can be personalized through the edit mode within the UI. So this is a big step towards like not needing extra add-ons like Omnibar or Omni CD, updating and incorporating it into the baseline UI so you can track whether your tank has a cooldown or not, in order to properly track that, keep them alive in PvE content or PvP content. So this is like, it's very small here because it's just one update, but this is huge because this is actually a fundamentally gameplay altering UI update, whereas before it was a lot of cosmetics, just kind of like shuffling the action bar around and things like that, and resizing and rescaling things. This is like functionality baseline improvements to the game. This is them like incorporating an add-on, a core add-on, which doesn't happen very often. They have done it with some things, like lose control when you get CC'd, it pops a box in the middle of the screen. They have incorporated some add-ons, but this is like a really big one, and I'm really interested to see what the next kind of update they provide to this is going to be, because this is just the initial glance of 11.1.5. And then the big one, the exploiters here, and I'm going to have to shift my camera around for this one a little bit because, oh my God. Apparently a guild has killed Gallywix already. They've already killed it. Down, like, final boss of the latest raid, Gallywix Mythic goes down and a guild gets in the Hall of Fame. Oh, wait. It's just Blizzard, apparently. Update 2. It seems this may have been one of the bigger exploits in the history of WoW. We still don't know anything for certain, but the YouTuber WoW Secrets posted about the kill and the guild that did it. For everyone that doesn't know, RAOV is a long-time hacking and exploiting group mainly focusing on WoW. They've been around since as long as I can remember, and have been around well before I got into exploiting scene myself. Many dupe game crashes, major game-breaking exploits have been found and performed by them. Some members have even received cease and desist letters from Blizzard. In RAOV's Discord, some members are denying any involvement and claiming someone took their name. Update 1. It's getting even more bizarre in here as the guild now has even more players logged for the kill. You can find the roster below the original post. Here's a strange one for you from the Race to World First, as it seems it's already over. A Hall of Fame moment. Raider.io reported on some very strange end boss action. If you'll recall, the Race to World First situation at the moment is that all of the top guilds are gathering gear in normal and heroic split raids, and we've only seen one boss go down in Mythic. But then the weirdness started. We start with a server announcement on Silver EU. RAOV Quality Assurance has earned the achievement Hall of Fame Chrome King Gallywix. A little weird, but it's just a server announcement, a small bug, except it was real. That's right, someone actually killed Mythic Chrome King Gallywix, the final boss of the Liberation Undermined raid, and got into the Hall of Fame. Quite an interesting turn of events, as none of the previous bosses aside from the first have been killed by anyone. So what is this? A giant exploit? A random bug just making the boss die alone? There are some subtle clues as to what's going on in the guild's name. Not being content with just this evidence, Raider.io investigated further and found the raid composition that took down the boss. Surely this will be crucial information for the top guilds, which specs are in, and how many healers and tanks. This will be a treasure trove of information that may change the course of the race. Or, we've got Guardian Druid, Prop Paladin, Double Ret. There's only 4 players with random item level thresholds and random trinkets, it looks like. Also take a peek at the last Retribution Paladin's name, Rextroy. Just a cheeky little reference, or is it the man himself? If it was really Rextroy, this may have been a last-minute test of some exploiter exploits, as he is quite the expert and has been reporting to Blizzard when he did this crazy kills recently, or it's just some other happy-go-lucky exploiters that used his name. Update, the weirdness continues, as the guild now has more players logged for the kill, and you can see that they're just getting stranger and stranger with varying item levels, and they seemingly all have the same talents, and they're all Ret Paladins. You guys are going to get nerfed because of this, guys. You guys are going to get nerfed. So what could it be? An actual test of the boss by Blizzard, either to see if he can die, perhaps due to a secret mythic phase with an accidental kill, a very strange random low gear guild pulling off a gigantic exploit with a very funny name, or Rextroy, but it wasn't. And that was a fun little detour from the monotony of the split raids in the race, whether this was just a not hidden as usual, or there was some emergency testing that needed to be done on the boss is unclear, but it seems someone in QA needed to see Gallywix die. At least we know he can die now, right? Or is this one of the biggest exploits we've ever seen in WoW? So you guys let me know what you think. Do you think this is just an internal test kill from Blizzard, or do you think this is Rextroy and he's built up a cartel himself and just defeated likely the most difficult boss available at the moment before anyone had even really entered the mythic raid? And aside from that, just some funny news, big update for the patch. Thank you guys very much for tuning into the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.